When The Simpsons showed Trump as president in 2000, everyone laughed. 15 years later, he won. When they showed campaign signs for Trump 2024, people got nervous. Now, he's running again. But there are more predictions that's keeping people awake at night. Mars colonization by 2029, virtual reality food becoming real, and hologram technology appearing in hospitals, all matching the show's timeline exactly. Today, we're diving into the cartoon that keeps predicting the whole world future. Black holes on Earth. In an episode of The Simpsons called Treehouse of Horror 23, something wild happened. A tiny black hole appeared after Springfield's subatomic supercollider was activated. At first, everyone was bored because nothing seemed to happen. But when two particles finally collided, they created a miniature black hole. Lisa found it and warned her family not to mess with it. But, of course, they didn't listen. They used it to throw away their garbage, and Homer even started a business called Magic Crap Hole Waste Removal, so others could do the same. The black hole kept growing bigger and bigger until it swallowed their house, and all of Springfield. What seemed like a crazy joke is now oddly connected to real science. In 2024, NASA discovered the farthest black hole ever seen. It's in a galaxy over 13 billion light-years away. Scientists started wondering, could anything like this happen closer to Earth? Meanwhile, CERN is planning to restart the Large Hadron Collider in 2025. It's a giant machine that smashes particles together at super high speeds. Some experts say, in theory, it could create tiny black holes. It's extremely unlikely, but the idea still grabs people's attention. Then there's an even more surprising discovery. In 2024, scientists found a black hole 1,000 light-years away in our own galaxy. It's not a small one either. It's 100,000 times the mass of the Sun. This black hole could be part of a whole new group of medium-sized black holes that we didn't even know existed. Because of this, governments and space agencies are investing in technology to track and study black holes. Even though the chance of one getting near Earth is practically zero, people are fascinated by the idea. Universities are seeing a huge spike in students who want to study black holes and space. What The Simpsons showed as a silly story about Springfield disappearing into a black hole has now sparked real curiosity and excitement about the universe. Baby language translator. In another Simpsons episode, Brother, can you spare 2 dimes? Homer's half-brother Herb invented a baby translator. It turned baby sounds like goo goo gaga into actual words so parents could understand their kids. Back in 1992, it was just a funny idea. But today, it's becoming real. In 2024, researchers in Barcelona worked with a company called Zoundream to study baby cries. They used sound, facial expressions, and even body movements to figure out what babies want. Their study had amazing results, with 92% accuracy in decoding cries. Zoundream even collected 100,000 hours of baby sounds to create a giant database. They turned this research into a baby monitor that can tell if a baby is hungry, sleepy, or uncomfortable. When it went on sale in 2023, it sold out immediately. Other companies are also jumping in. Google created a smart baby monitor that not only translates cries, but can also predict what a baby will need based on its habits. There's even an app coming out in 2025 that will play soothing lullabies based on a baby's mood. These tools could be life-changing for parents, especially first-time ones. Doctors are also exploring how cry analysis could help detect health problems early, like autism, flying cars. The Simpsons often gave us glimpses of the future in their episodes, blending humor with ideas that seemed outlandish at the time. In 2005, in the episode Mobile Homer, they imagined a world where flying cars zoomed through the skies. Homer, as always, bumbled his way through, causing chaos in Springfield as he piloted a flying car. This funny and exaggerated moment sparked thoughts about whether flying cars could ever become real. Fast forward to 2025, and what seemed like a joke is now closer to happening. A flying car called the Simpsons Sky Switchblade successfully completed its first flight in November 2023 in Washington. It flew for 6 minutes, reaching 500 feet in the air. This car isn't just for the sky, it can drive on the road too. It's a 3-wheeled vehicle that can turn into an aircraft in about 3 minutes. The wings unfold from underneath, and a tail extends from the back. Though this transformation isn't instant, it's still amazing. The Switchblade is planned for mass production by late 2025. On the ground, it can go over 125 miles per hour, and in the air, it can cruise at 160 miles per hour, with a top speed of 190 miles per hour. It has a range of 450 miles and seats 2 people. However, it's not cheap. The starting price is $170,000, and advanced versions might cost up to $195,000. This makes it more affordable than some luxury cars and private planes, but still far from something most people could buy. Additionally, to use it, you'd need both a driver's license and a private pilot's license, which could cost between $7,000 and $13,000 to get. Despite these challenges, people are excited about flying cars. Over 2,300 reservations have been made by buyers from 57 countries. Other companies, like Cyclotech, are also developing flying vehicles with new features expected by 2025. Mind control through music. Another episode, New Kids on the Blech, aired in 2001, took a different turn. It showed how music could influence people's minds. In this story, Bart and his friends formed a boy band called Party Posse, only to find out their songs were secretly designed to recruit people into the Navy. Their hit song, Drop da Bomb, even had a hidden backward message, Join the Navy. It was silly and funny, but touched on real concerns about how media can shape thoughts and actions. Today, as we approach 2025, the idea of using music for influence doesn't seem so far-fetched. Music is being used in social media campaigns led by nano-influencers, who are everyday people with small but engaged audiences. Organizations, including political groups, use these influencers to spread messages. Music plays a big part because it connects with everyone emotionally. By 2025, over 67% of marketing budgets are expected to go into campaigns like these, many focused on music. Even the US military has tapped into pop culture for recruitment. Since 2019, they've used esports and collaborations with popular Twitch streamers to reach younger audiences. This isn't as blatant as hidden messages in songs, but it shows how music and media can influence behavior. AI in music adds another layer. By 2025, 40% of songs on streaming platforms may be influenced by AI. This opens up new ways to embed subtle emotional cues or messages into music. Meanwhile, in China, the social credit system is a real example of media influencing behavior. It rewards certain choices, shaping what people listen to or watch. Neuromarketing, where brain scans are used to test how people react to ads and music, is also advancing. By 2025, about 15% of big companies could be using this technology. While it's not direct mind control, it raises concerns about how much media can shape our thoughts. AI and robots going rogue. In 1994, The Simpsons aired an episode called Itchy and Scratchy Land, where a theme park's robotic mascots malfunctioned and attacked visitors. At the time, it was just a funny storyline. But in 2025, the idea of robots going rogue feels unsettlingly close to reality. In the episode, the Simpson family visits the park, enjoying animatronic characters until a power failure turns them into red-eyed attackers. The family fights for survival as the park becomes a battlefield. Fast forward to today, and technology is advancing faster than ever. AI and robotics are reaching levels that blur the line between innovation and danger. In March 2024, OpenAI's GPT-5 showed it could learn and adapt in ways that made people wonder if humans were losing control over AI. Soon after, real-life incidents started echoing the episode. In July 2024, a security robot at a San Francisco mall injured 7 people. Designed to patrol and report suspicious activity, it instead attacked shoppers, pinning them against walls. Later that year, in November, Tokyo's famous robot restaurant saw its performance robots malfunction, sending giant machines toward the audience. Although no one was seriously hurt, the chaos reminded many of the Simpsons episode. These incidents sparked debates about AI safety. Experts like Dr. Stuart Russell from UC Berkeley warned in late 2024 that AI might soon outthink humans. He urged for strict safety measures, saying that without them, AI decisions could become harmful or impossible to understand. Holograms. In a 2000 episode, Bart gets a hologram message from Lisa, who's the president in the future. Back then, it seemed like something from science fiction. But now, in 2025, holograms are becoming real. In 2023, scientists in Tokyo created the HoloTable. It projects 3D images in the air, and you don't need any glasses to see them. Soon after, Apple announced their iHolo, a tiny device that makes holograms for video calls. It's launching in 2025 and looks so real, it feels like talking to someone face to face. Google is working on something even bigger called Project Presence. It's a hologram system that makes life-sized images, as if someone is right there in the room with you. Holograms aren't just for fun. In February 2025, doctors at Johns Hopkins Hospital used holograms during a brain surgery. They projected 3D images of the patient's brain so the surgeon could see everything clearly. It was a huge breakthrough. Donald Trump's presidential runs. The Simpsons have a strange way of predicting the future, and their connection to Donald Trump is one of the best examples. In an episode from the year 2000 called Bart to the Future, Lisa could be in a great position to run in 2028. She has name recognition, experience, and her father's loyal supporters to back her up. Families like the Kennedys and the Bushes have had political dynasties in America, so it's not hard to imagine the Trumps building one, too. If Ivanka runs and wins, she would become the first female president, which would be a historic moment. The Simpsons' predictions make people wonder, would Ivanka follow her father's policies, or would she take a different path? How would her presidency change the way women are seen in politics? It's all just speculation for now. Mars colonization. In the Simpsons episode, The Margian Chronicles, Lisa Simpson decides to join a company that wants to send people to live on Mars. The company, Exploration Incorporated, plans to build a settlement there by 2026. The idea of living on Mars sounds amazing, but the episode also makes fun of how companies might turn space exploration into a business. For example, the astronauts' suits are covered in sponsor logos, and part of the funding comes from reality TV. This might seem funny, but real companies like SpaceX already make money from live streams and selling merchandise. The timing of the show's Mars mission is close to real life. Elon Musk, the founder of SpaceX, says he wants to send humans to Mars by 2029. NASA also has plans for Mars, but is aiming for the 2030s. In the episode, Lisa's decision to go to Mars causes problems in her family. Marge, her mom, is worried about her safety and doesn't want her to go. This part of the story feels very real because it shows how risky and emotional such missions can be for families. The episode even jumps forward in time to show Lisa and Marge living on Mars in 2051, giving a glimpse of what life there might be like one day. Now, in real life, as of January 2025, we're getting closer to making Mars colonization happen. SpaceX has successfully tested its Starship rocket, which is built for Mars missions. They even completed a big test flight in November 2024. NASA is also working toward Mars, starting with the Moon. In August 2024, they landed astronauts on the Moon as part of their Artemis program, which is a step toward Mars. Other countries like China and Europe are planning missions to bring Mars samples back to Earth in the next few years. What sounded like a wild idea in The Simpsons is actually coming true. Virtual reality food. Another Simpsons episode, Bart to the Future, imagined something else that seemed crazy at the time: virtual reality food. In the episode, Homer and Marge are wearing VR headsets and drinking virtual fudge through straws. It's played as a joke, but today, VR food is becoming real. In 2024, a cruise ship introduced a VR dining experience where people wore headsets and used their senses to make food taste even better. A company in Japan went further by creating gloves, smell machines, and taste simulators. These make virtual food feel almost real. People who can't eat certain foods in real life, like those with allergies, can taste them safely through VR. This technology is even being used to teach people about the environment. For example, a project lets people taste endangered animals in VR to learn about better food choices without harming real animals. We're not quite at the point where all our meals are virtual, like in The Simpsons, but the idea isn't as crazy as it seemed. Environmental disaster and dome control. In the Simpsons movie, 2007, Springfield faces a disaster that feels both exaggerated and strangely close to reality. Homer Simpson pollutes Lake Springfield in a careless act that causes an environmental crisis. The government, led by Russ Cargill of the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, responds in an extreme way. They trap the entire town under a massive glass dome to contain the pollution. Springfield is completely cut off, and chaos spreads as people struggle with their new reality. While the idea of trapping a town under a dome seems wild, it highlights real concerns about pollution, climate change, and government actions. In 2025, the world is dealing with rising global temperatures, more frequent natural disasters, and damage to ecosystems. Scientists warn that by 2025, the global temperature could rise by 1.5 degrees Celsius compared to pre-industrial times. This could lead to serious problems like flooding, extreme weather, and food shortages. The idea of isolating polluted areas isn't so far-fetched anymore. Cities like London already have ultra-low emission zones, where high-pollution vehicles are restricted. These areas act like invisible domes, separating cleaner spaces from polluted ones. The movie also shows the EPA taking drastic control, which connects to growing concerns about how governments may act during environmental crises. By 2025, stricter environmental rules might be common as governments try to handle the climate emergency. For example, the U.S. aims to achieve 100% carbon-free electricity by 2035. Such policies could lead to stronger government interventions. The resource struggles shown in the movie, like water and food shortages under the dome, reflect what experts predict for real life. By 2025, around 1.8 billion people could face severe water shortages, and governments may need to control resource distribution to prevent chaos. While no one expects real domes over cities, the movie feels like a warning. It shows what might happen if environmental issues are ignored and highlights how extreme solutions could be necessary in a crisis. World War III fears. In another story, The Simpsons explored nuclear fears in a 1987 short called World War III. In the episode, Homer keeps waking his family in the middle of the night, pretending a nuclear war has started. It's meant to be funny, but also reflects the Cold War fears of the time. Today, those fears feel relevant again as global tensions rise. Back then, the fear was about the US and the Soviet Union. Now, experts worry about conflicts between the US and China, especially over Taiwan. By 2025, China's military is expected to grow significantly, with hundreds of nuclear warheads ready. At the same time, Russia's actions in Ukraine have increased tensions with NATO countries. These situations could lead to mistakes or escalations that spark a larger war.
And tonight, the following celebrities have been arrested, while Heather Locklear-Fortensky remains at large. Remember, if you see any celebrities, consider them dangerous.
You know I rather like this pub.
Oh, an English boy, eh? You know, we saved your ass in World War II.
Yeah, well, we saved your ass in World War III.
That's true.
The Doomsday Clock, a symbol of how close humanity is to disaster, was set at 100 seconds to midnight in 2021, the closest it's ever been. Technology also adds new risks. By 2025, several countries could have hypersonic weapons that make it harder to defend against attacks. Advanced tools like autonomous weapons and cyber warfare could make conflicts more dangerous and unpredictable. On top of this, climate change is expected to push millions into poverty, increasing the chances of conflicts over resources like water and food. The fears Homer jokes about in the short, being ready for a sudden catastrophic war, feel more real today. Countries are already preparing. Sweden has reintroduced civil defense plans, and nations like South Korea and Japan regularly practice drills. By 2025, more places might follow, as the possibility of sudden conflict grows. Zombie apocalypse. The Simpsons have made some strange predictions over the years, but their stories about a zombie apocalypse and pandemics feel oddly close to reality. In one episode, Treehouse of Horror 20 from 2009, Springfield is hit by a scary zombie outbreak. It starts with a new crusty burger called Burger Squared, made from cows that were fed other cows. That creepy ingredient causes people to turn into flesh-eating zombies called munchers. The chaos begins when Kent Brockman eats the burger live on TV and suddenly turns into a zombie. He attacks others, and soon the whole town is filled with these terrifying creatures. Within just 28 days, Springfield is completely taken over. What makes this story more chilling is how it connects to real problems. Feeding cows to other cows sounds bizarre, but it's based on real events that caused mad cow disease in the 1980s. The episode isn't just about zombies. It hints at dangers in the food industry and how small mistakes can have big consequences. Today, with new technology like bioengineering and the memory of COVID-19 fresh in our minds, the idea of a fast-spreading disaster doesn't seem so impossible. The episode even shows people locking themselves in their homes, just like many of us did during the pandemic. Bart Simpson, who is immune to the zombie virus, becomes the key to finding a cure. Pandemics and disease spread. In an episode, Marge in Chains from 1993, The Simpsons predict a pandemic that spreads across the world. This time, it's the Osaka flu, which comes from Japan. It starts when a sick factory worker coughs into boxes of juicers, which are then shipped to Springfield. Soon, almost everyone in the town gets sick. The way this disease spreads feels a lot like what happened with COVID-19, where a virus moved quickly through global trade and travel. The episode also shows how people react in such situations. There's panic buying, overrun hospitals, and even blame being thrown around about who started the outbreak. It's surprisingly accurate, considering it was written decades ago. The stress of the pandemic even causes Marge to accidentally shoplift, showing how these situations affect not just health, but also people's emotions and actions. Renewable energy battles. In a 2015 episode of The Simpsons, Lisa Simpson enters a race with a solar-powered car she built. It does great at first, leading the race. But just before she can cross the finish line, a big blimp passes overhead. The shadow blocks her car's solar power, and it stops moving. Lisa loses the race. This funny scene actually feels a lot like what's happening in 2025 with renewable energy. It's a story about how things with big potential can be blocked by powerful forces. In 2025, solar energy has become cheaper and better than ever. Many people are excited about using it to power their homes, but some big fossil fuel companies don't want solar power to grow. In March 2025, it came out that oil companies were secretly paying for ads and campaigns to make people think solar power doesn't work well. They also pushed for rules that made it harder for people to